There you go, as an 8:03 performer. Quite bizarre. Barnabas Kipyego, well, the world junior champion back in 2014, third in Monaco in 2016, and his lifetime best of 8:09. And then Clement Kemboy, personal best here 2 years ago when he was 6th in 8:10. This season's best last year, only 8:23. And then we go across the rest of this field, where most of them have personal bests around 8:15, 8:18, 8:19. Lagat there, Justus Lagat, an 8:18 performer. He's only 21, the Kenyan. 28 barriers ahead of them. It's an institution, really. The groups of great Kenyan steeplechasers over the years. It's an event they feel real ownership of. There's the odd challenger who comes through. Albert Chemutai is in there, who's in good form. The Ugandan, who was 5th in the Commonwealth Games. He's just 18 years old. Ran 8:19 on the Gold Coast some 3 weeks or so back. Toes behind the line, please, gentlemen. That is a big field. Just looks like cross-country races, they get underway. In the light blue centre of picture is Chalabayo. He's an 8:13 performer from Ethiopia. And he goes off the quickest there, glances over his shoulder, looking for the pacemakers, and here they come to order. Diego will take the early pace at 2:45 tempo, so they're heading for a time, according to the splits for the pacemakers, of around 8:15. It may wind up over the final kilometre to go quicker than that. Nurki moving down the outside there. The Ethiopian is an 8:22 performer. That was a couple of years ago, and he's 28 too, so getting a rare opportunity to perform on the international circuit here is Tolosa Nurgi. Desperate to grab that opportunity with both hands, these athletes, who, some of whom are sort of journeymen back home on the domestic circuit of good quality track racing, and then if they can just secure a ticket to one of these Diamond League meetings or to somewhere in Europe to show their strengths, their skills, then they can make the breakthrough. There's a lot of hungry young athletes in that pack.
Well, just settling down, Tim, and as you said, a modest pace being asked for, but they could do with almost stretching the field out. You said it was a big field, but you're right, it's an opportunity here. You mentioned that Commonwealth Games race. It was a cracking race. So Consensus Kipruto, who won that, the world #1, he's obviously decided to start his next part of his season a little bit later. And 8:10, that was a good race. Kibiwa, Karui. But I think the interesting thing is that, you know, in that race, Matt Hughes of Canada almost got a medal. We've seen Evan Jager, of course, coming into the fore. The Kenyans in both the men and the women, you know, remember Emma Coburn last year and Frerichs at the World Champs. They're not as dominant at the championships as they always have been. People aren't as scared, if you like, as they used to be. So it was good to see Matt Hughes taking them on there, and we'll be looking forward to more of that this year.
Sandy Morris then, 4:54 under her belt, now going for 4:64. This is only her second vault. Very consistent vaulter too, Morris. Oh my word, way clear of that. Takes the lead with that. And Sandy Morris does always seem to be smiling. She's one of those athletes who wears a heart in her sleeve, loves her vaulting. You can just see that she recognises the privilege that so many of these elite athletes experience as having a massive talent. They do work hard for it, but she really enjoys herself out there. As we go back to this chase now, Diego driving along hard out in front, the 26-year-old. He's an 8:03 performer. That's from 2013, 5 years back, and as he moves wide, his job done at 1,000, 2:43.99. That's pretty good pacemaking. I guess that most of the pack have gone through in around 2:46, 2:47 as they're bunching again now. Jaeger moves wide, and Ganga is a compatriot, the second pacemaker who should lead now through this middle kilometre. Is himself 33 years old, but an 8:05 performer from a few years back. So they're leading this pack of many youngsters, a lot of, 3 teenagers in this field, and several 21, 22-year-olds. In fact, 4 teenagers, just checking the lineup. They're leading them a merry dance at the moment, almost daring them to follow. Be interesting to see if they will accelerate on this one. That first kilometre, of course, at about 8:12 tempo. Modest running for several of these men. And they're certainly going with it. I wonder if we'll see a lot of very tired legs beginning to drop back dramatically over the last 600 or so. Either that, or there's a massive personal best coming, and it wouldn't be any different to what we've seen already tonight in the track races, Steve.
Yeah, it's been a night for fast times and big performances already. 8:10, fastest in the world this year, so it's certainly within range, as you were saying, Tim, assuming a quicker last 1,000 metres, if you don't let it drop too much here, and the pacemaker's done a reasonable job. There you go, and Nganga is keeping things moving along. Kipsang on the inside there.
So 3.5 laps to go, just over 3.5 laps to go. Yeah, you go glancing across at Nganga. Looks very relaxed, doesn't he, there to the left of the picture. Chemutai, remember the Ugandan, still only 18. His other personal bests, by the way, even though he has run 8:19, are incredibly modest. He's run 3:54 for 1,500 metres, 13:56 for 5,000. He's only just dipped under 8 minutes for 3,000 flat indoors. So several of these lads are very much specialist steeplechasers who haven't yet really, I suppose, had the opportunity to race a great deal on decent surfaces outside of their home nations and get into races where there are pacemakers. You've got to remember that most of the Ethiopians, when they race back home, are operating at the sort of 7,000 metre, 7,000 feet plus thin air of the track in Addis Ababa. And Nganga moves aside now, and Kipsang takes the lead. Lawrence Kemboy Kipsang, personal best here 2 years ago. And he was only 10th in the Kenyan Olympic trials in 2016, having run that 8:17 here in Doha.
Well, he's left there, isn't he? Because what was meant to happen is Diego was meant to get them, to at least beyond the 1,000 metres. And the second pacemaker was meant to go to at least 2K. Now he's dropped out, so Kipsang's been left there. So the pace is just slowing a little bit. You can see them all bunching, and Chemutai looking ominous on the outside. The 18-year-old, as Tim was mentioning, and now you can see, look there, 5:33 through 2K. So it really has slowed down significantly.
Yes, it has. That's gosh, about 8:20 tempo. Now they've slowed dramatically on that second kilometre. They're bunching. There's some 10 or 11 men in this lead group with just over 2 laps to run. Nobody seems to be really prepared to get their head down and make them work on this one. And if you're going to be bunched like this, you've got to watch the elbows and the knees and those barriers. They don't give if you hit them. Remember that. It really does knock you for 6. No problems at all negotiating that one. But anybody with a big kick now is beginning to rally themselves mentally, gathering their resources, thinking about when they're going to make their move. If you're comfortable now, and they should be, because this is around 8:20 tempo, there'll be several men here running within themselves who are not prepared to go out in front and push it hard from 2 or 3 laps out, not prepared to be perhaps the sacrificial lamb and test the others. Perhaps they're feeling the heat, Steve. Maybe they feel it's not a night for really quick running. It's certainly very hot and humid here in the stands above the finish line.
Here we go, and finally we get a bit of movement at the front, and that's Bayo, who's attacked. I was just about to say that Kipyego looks as though he's struggling a little bit to me, the former world junior champion, and he's immediately gone to the back of this group as the pace suddenly is on.
Well, Bayo's throwing the cat amongst the pigeons there as he attacked that water jump. Takes that final barrier on this penultimate lap. Little glance over his shoulder, and he looks very light in his feet, doesn't he? He moves well. Small character. Hits the bell, though, and around 7:13.5, 7:14. He's going further clear, and there's a pack of 5 athletes now trying desperately to get back to him, but I don't know if they're going to get there. Kipsang, Amare, Chemutai, Deriba, Kiprono is there as well. But has Kipsang let little Bayo in the light blue vest get the jump on him? When he kicked hard going into that water jump, 300 metres back, he snatched 4 or 5 metres straight away. Another little glance over his shoulder, but he doesn't need to worry about that because he's 5 metres clear. Kipsang chasing hard. Now, the way they clear this water jump will be critical. Bayo driving hard, high knees, looks really strong, doesn't he? Slightly hunched-shouldered, but still covering the ground well. Little stutter before that final barrier. Puts a foot on top of it. The Kenyans love to fly over the barrier. Steals back a metre to Kipsang in second place. But Bayo, another glance over his shoulder. He's looked over 5 or 6 times now. This barrier safely, and he's home. Looks really awkward on landing, but he's going to take this one. And watch the clock. It's going to be quick. Well inside 8:15. That's a big, big run. A big win from Bayo of Ethiopia. Kipsang in second place there. Kiprono in third place. And the winning time, 8:13.71. Well, it ended up pretty respectable after all, despite that slow middle kilometre. And that, I suppose, was almost like a World Championship semi-final. Bayo there showing very, very impressive speed from 500 or 600 metres out to grab a gap on the field, which was never to be closed. And he looked by far the strongest on that final lap, to be fair to him. This young lad could go a long way. He's only 22 years old. 8:13.24 was his personal best coming into this race. He's about half a second outside that there, but there is so much more to come.
Well, the Ethiopians are a coming force in the steeplechase as well. They haven't yet got the depth, but they're starting to develop that depth, which then pushes the standard up, and your top men start running lower 8 minutes. He's had to fight for this one a little bit today, and he's just outside his personal best, so a really good solid performance from him, just literally tenths outside his personal best, and look what that means to him. That's the biggest victory of his career so far. Did well in Hengelo last year. I was watching them there. That was an effective Ethiopian trials for the World Championships, but he's the winner.
He is indeed. Bale wins the steeplechase, then 8:13.71, a season's best. Kipsang, Kiprono and Kipyego, the Kenyan challenge, turned back.